The 1918 Spanish flu pandemic claimed the lives of 50 million people worldwide, officially making it history's deadliest pandemic. Out of the American death toll of 675,000 victims, 200,000 Americans perished from the Spanish flu in October 1918 alone. Funeral service providers did not only have to take care of 675,000 Spanish influenza victims, but also victims of World War I, which was occurring at the exact same time. So what was America's solution? At the time, cremation was an uncommon practice, so that was out. So how did they resolve this? Funeral homes and mortuaries were filling up very fast, so this meant that families had to deal with the dead at home. Oftentimes, they would cover the corpses in ice and put them in a basement, a bedroom corner, or somewhere out of the way to contain the virus. Eventually, arrangements would be made for these bodies, but it wasn't in the most peaceful and respectful fashion. Similar to the Middle Ages, bodies were taken out of the streets and into wagons, which brought them to their mass burial sites. This was often used for immigrants and people of poorer class, but still a very distasteful way of interment. As for individuals that had a little bit more money, they were buried in single interment spaces, but they did have a lot of problems and complications that came with that. Public funerals and wakes were banned in cities like Philadelphia and Chicago, so that was out of question. As for containers, casket companies were so overwhelmed that they said that only plain boxes were allowed, and these only came in two varieties. One length of 5 feet 9 inches and the other length of 6 feet 3 inches. Workhouse inmates, city employees, and even soldiers were recruited as gravediggers. Even though there were more gravediggers than before, they still could not keep up with the overwhelming number of casualties. As a result, mass graves were resorted to, and cemeteries even resorted to reuse of coffins. For example, at Boston's New Calvary Cemetery, gravediggers were spotted dumping corpses out of caskets into graves so that these coffins could be used again. Unfortunately, for the majority of the victims of the Spanish influenza, there was no peaceful rest. How do you think that the death care industry could prevent such tragedies in the future when it comes to pandemics?